It's a colleague who constantly undermines you, a so-called friend who mocks your choices, or even family members who dismiss your voice. It's infuriating, isn't it? That deep, growing frustration of not being seen, not being valued. But here is a truth the Stoics understood well. You cannot control how others treat you, but you can control how you respond. Disrespect is a test, a measure of your resilience, your boundaries, and ultimately your self-respect. So how do you deal with those who refuse to respect you? Do you fight back? Do you walk away? Do you let it fester in silence? In this video, I'm going to share 7 powerful, non-nonsense strategies rooted in Stoic wisdom and personal experience. These are not about seeking revenge or pretending it doesn't bother you. They're about reclaiming your power, standing firm and commanding respect, not through force, but through unwavering self-mastery. If you've ever felt like you're constantly battling for the respect you deserve, stay with me. By the end of this video, you'll have the mindset and tools to handle anyone who dares to belittle you, without losing yourself in the process. Set clear boundaries. Disrespect thrives where boundaries are weak. If you allow people to walk over you, they will. If you excuse their behavior, they will repeat it. The Stoics understood this well. People will treat you the way you allow them to treat you. If you don't set firm boundaries, you're silently giving others permission to continue disrespecting you. Setting boundaries is not about confrontation or seeking revenge. It's about self-respect. Many people hesitate to do this because they fear conflict. But here's a hard truth. Avoiding conflict often creates more of it. If you don't define your limits, others will define them for you. I had to learn this the hard way. There was a time when I thought that if I was patient, if I was kind enough, people would naturally respect me. They didn't. I let things slide, thinking my silence would earn me goodwill. Instead, it only encouraged more disrespect. I found myself frustrated, resentful, and wondering why people kept crossing the line. But here's what I finally realized. They weren't crossing the line. I had failed to draw one. When I finally started setting boundaries, I noticed a shift. The people who truly valued me adjusted their behavior. The ones who thrived on taking advantage of me, they pushed back, and some disappeared altogether. And that was a good thing. If someone only respects you when they can use you, their respect was never real to begin with. So how do you do it? Calmly, clearly, without apology. If a friend constantly makes jokes at your expense, say, "I enjoy joking around, but I don't appreciate jokes that put me down." Let's keep it respectful. If a colleague dumps extra work on you, be direct. "I have my own responsibilities to handle. I won't be able to take this on." If a family member keeps dismissing your opinions, say, "I'd appreciate it if you'd hear me out before responding." Yes, enforcing boundaries might feel uncomfortable at first, but discomfort is temporary. The self-respect you gain by standing your ground will last a lifetime. Don't engage in power struggles. Some people disrespect you not because they don't see your worth, but because they enjoy the control it gives them. They provoke, they push, they test your patience, not to prove a point, but to make you react. The moment you take the bait, you've given them exactly what they want, power over your emotions. But here's where Stoic wisdom comes in. No one can take your power unless you hand it to them. You cannot control how others behave, but you can always control how you respond. When someone tries to undermine you, your greatest weapon is not rage, not arguments, not proving them wrong, it's indifference. Marcus Aurelius put it simply, you have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Let that be your mantra. People who seek to control you through disrespect want you to react emotionally. They want to see you flustered, defensive, or angry because it validates their own sense of power. The more you engage in their games, the more control you give them. But when you remain calm, composed and unaffected, you take away their control entirely. This doesn't mean you tolerate disrespect. It means you don't let it dictate your state of mind. Instead of engaging in pointless arguments or trying to win against someone who thrives on conflict, you choose a higher ground. Respond with calm, logical statements, and if necessary, disengage completely. Imagine this: someone insults you in a meeting, trying to embarrass you. Instead of snapping back or getting defensive, you calmly say, I don't see how that comment adds to the discussion. But let's stay on topic. No drama, no emotional reaction, just quiet confidence. That single act of self-control makes them look foolish. Not you, or perhaps a friend constantly undermines you, making sarcastic jabs at your achievements. Instead of firing back, you can simply say, I prefer conversations that are supportive. If that's not possible, I'd rather not engage. Then you move on. No arguments, no debates. By refusing to be drawn into power struggles, you assert the strongest kind of power, the power over yourself. You show that your peace is not for sale. Your emotions are not easily manipulated, and your worth does not depend on anyone else's validation. So the next time someone disrespects you, don't argue, don't explain yourself, don't try to change their mind. Just stay composed and make your point, if necessary, and walk away. Let them wrestle with their own need for control while you remain in music, untouchable. 3. Limit your exposure to them. One of the most effective ways to handle people who don't respect you is to limit your exposure to them. You may not always have the option to remove them from your life entirely, especially if they're colleagues, family members, or people you must interact with. But you do have control over how much access they have to your time, energy, and attention. Many of us make the mistake of believing that just because someone is in our life, we must tolerate their behavior. I used to think the same way. I thought that if I just kept my head down and endured the disrespect, things would change, but they never did. Instead, I found myself exhausted, frustrated, and emotionally drained. That's when I realized something important. You may not be able to remove every toxic person from your life, but you can remove their influence. If the disrespectful person is a co-worker, keep interactions strictly professional. Avoid unnecessary small talk. Set firm boundaries and don't engage in office gossip or drama. If it's a friend or family member, create space where you can. You don't have to answer every call, attend every gathering, or engage in every conversation. And here's the key: you don't need to make a big announcement about distancing yourself. You don't have to explain or justify why you're pulling away. Simply redirect your focus to the people and activities that bring you peace and fulfillment. The more time you spend around toxic individuals, the more they drain you mentally, emotionally, and even physically. Their negativity seeps into your mindset, Their words linger in your thoughts, and their energy wears you down. The less time you give them, the less power they have over your well-being. Marcus Aurelius once said, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, and nothing clouds your thoughts more than constant exposure to negativity." Respect yourself enough to prioritize your peace. If someone doesn't value you, they don't deserve unlimited access to you. Distancing yourself isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's choosing to protect your energy instead of wasting it on people who don't appreciate it. And in doing so, you free up space for relationships that truly enrich your life. 4. Respond with silence. Not every battle is worth fighting, and not every insult deserves a response. Sometimes, silence is the most powerful answer you can give. Disrespectful people thrive on reaction. They provoke, they push, they bait you into responding, because the moment you do, they know they have control over your emotions. But when you refuse to engage, when you let their words hang in the air without validation, you strip them of their power. Silence is not weakness, it is restraint, it is mastery over yourself. The Stoics believed that true strength lies in choosing which battles are worth your energy. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You always have the option of having no opinion." In other words, you don't have to react to everything. You don't have to explain yourself, defend yourself, or justify your worth to those who refuse to see it. I've learned that sometimes the best way to handle disrespect is to simply let it echo into emptiness. Imagine someone making a rude comment in a conversation, expecting you to snap back, to argue, to prove yourself. Instead of giving them what they want, you pause, you breathe, and you say nothing. The weight of that silence forces them to sit with their own words, without the satisfaction of seeing you flustered. And trust me, that unsettles them far more than any rebuttal ever could. Of course, this doesn't mean you let people walk all over you. It means you choose your responses wisely. Some people don't deserve your words, and responding to them only gives their negativity more oxygen. So the next time someone disrespects you, try this. Pause, take a deep breath. Let the silence settle in. In that space, you reclaim your power. You show that you are not controlled by petty provocations. And most importantly, you prove that your self-worth does not need validation from those who fail to respect it. 5. Respect yourself. Draw the line. If someone repeatedly disrespects you, it's because they either don't know your boundaries or don't believe you'll enforce them. Either way, the responsibility falls on you to make those boundaries clear. Disrespect thrives in uncertainty. Clarity shuts it down. Setting boundaries isn't about aggression or confrontation. It's about self-respect. Many people hesitate to draw the line because they fear being seen as rude or difficult. I used to feel the same way. I thought that if I was patient and understanding, people would eventually respect me. But I was wrong. Not setting boundaries doesn't prevent conflict. It invites more of it. When you don't establish clear limits, people will test them. Some do it unintentionally, simply because they don't realize they've crossed a line. Others do it deliberately, sensing that they can get away with it. In both cases, your silence or hesitation is an open invitation for continued disrespect. Think about it. When someone interrupts you repeatedly, dismisses your feelings, or makes sarcastic remarks at your expense, you say nothing. What message does that send? It tells them their behavior is acceptable. And once someone believes they can disrespect you without consequence, they will do it again. A well-placed boundary is simple, direct and firm. You don't need to justify or explain yourself. You don't need to raise your voice or prove a point. You just need to be clear. I don't appreciate being spoken to that way. Please don't interrupt me when I'm talking. I won't tolerate that kind of comment. These are not emotional reactions. They are statements of self-respect. If the other person gets defensive, dismisses you, or tries to argue, that's their issue, not yours. Your job is not to make them feel comfortable with your boundaries. It's to enforce them. At first, setting boundaries might feel uncomfortable. You might worry about how the other person will react. You might feel guilt creeping in. But remember this, discomfort is temporary. The more you practice, the stronger you become. And once you set clear boundaries, you'll notice something powerful. Disrespect becomes harder for others to continue. People will either adjust their behavior or fade away because they can't handle being held accountable. And if someone chooses to leave because they can no longer disrespect you, that's a loss you should welcome. At the end of the day, you teach others how to treat you. Make sure the lesson you're teaching is one of self-respect, confidence, and unwavering boundaries. 6. Don't take it personally. When someone disrespects you, it can feel deeply personal, like an attack on your worth, your dignity, or even your identity. It stings, and your instinct might be to wonder, did I do something wrong? But here is a truth that will set you free. Their disrespect is not about you. It's about them. Disrespect is often a projection of a person's own insecurities, frustrations, or inner conflicts. People lash out, belittle, or undermine others not because of who you are, but because of what they lack. Their inability to show respect is a reflection of their character, not your value. I've been there, overanalyzing every rude comment, replaying every dismissive interaction, wondering if I'd said or done something to deserve it. But the moment I stopped internalizing their actions, I realized something powerful. The problem wasn't me, it was them. This shift in perspective is incredibly liberating. Instead of feeling hurt or angry, you begin to detach. You stop seeking validation from people who were never capable of giving it. You recognize that their behavior is not a judgment of your worth, but a symptom of their own struggles. Think of it this way: if someone is carrying a heavy burden of negativity, bitterness, or insecurity, they will try to offload it onto others. You don't have to carry what isn't yours. You don't have to absorb their anger, their rudeness, or their dismissiveness. Let them keep it. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You don't have to turn this into something. It doesn't have to upset you." That's the essence of Stoicism. You have the power to decide how much weight you give to another person's words or actions. When you stop taking disrespect personally, you strip it of its power. Imagine this: someone makes a sarcastic remark about you in a meeting, hoping to get under your skin. If you react emotionally, you give them exactly what they want: power over your state of mind. But if you remain unbothered, if you simply move forward as if their words carry no weight, their attempt falls flat. They are left with their own bitterness while you remain in control. Or picture a family member who constantly criticizes your choices. Instead of defending yourself or trying to prove them wrong, you simply acknowledge their opinion without letting it shake your confidence. "I hear what you're saying," you might say, and then carry on as if their words were nothing more than passing noise. This doesn't mean you tolerate disrespect. It means you refuse to let it define you. You set boundaries where needed. You address issues when necessary, but you never let someone else's poor behavior shake your sense of self. At the end of the day, you decide what affects you. People can say what they want, but it is up to you whether their words become wounds or whether they simply fade into irrelevance. By not taking disrespect personally, you reclaim your peace, your confidence, and your power. 7. Walk away when necessary. Sometimes the most powerful response to disrespect is not to argue, not to retaliate, but simply to walk away. Disrespect, when left unchecked, has a way of slowly eroding your self-esteem. Staying in an environment where you're constantly belittled, dismissed, or undervalued doesn't just affect your mood. It can chip away at your confidence, drain your energy, and negatively impact your mental health over time. Walking away isn't a sign of weakness or defeat. On the contrary, it's a declaration of self-respect. It's about saying, "I refuse to be treated this way," and taking action to protect your inner peace. I used to believe that walking away meant I was giving up or letting the other person win. I thought that if I was strong enough, I should be able to endure the disrespect and prove that it didn't bother me. But enduring mistreatment isn't a sign of strength. It's a sign of misplaced loyalty to a toxic situation. We often stay in unhealthy environments out of habit, obligation, or fear of change. We tell ourselves that if we just wait a little longer, things might improve. But the hard truth is, people who repeatedly disrespect you have no incentive to change. If they see you continuing to tolerate it, no amount of explaining or arguing will change someone who is committed to belittling or mistreating you. Some people don't want to understand you. They want to control you. Others thrive on seeing you react because your frustration fuels their sense of power. When you recognize that engaging with them is futile, the best move you can make is to remove yourself entirely. And when I started doing this, when I chose to walk away from people who showed me repeated disrespect, I didn't feel like I had lost anything. In fact, I felt lighter, freer, more at peace. Because at the end of the day, the real victory isn't proving a point to someone who refuses to respect you. It's reclaiming your power by refusing to tolerate their behavior. Walking away can take many forms. Sometimes it's as simple as excusing yourself from a toxic conversation and choosing not to engage. Other times it requires bigger decisions, ending a long-standing friendship that no longer serves you, distancing yourself from a disrespectful family member, or even leaving a workplace that consistently devalues you. Yes, these choices can be difficult. They may come with discomfort, uncertainty, and even grief. But what's worse, losing a relationship with someone who disrespects you, or losing your self-respect by staying. The Stoics believed in focusing only on what is within our control. And one of the greatest powers you have is the power to choose where you invest your time, your energy, and your presence. Walking away is not about avoidance or running from challenges. It's about choosing where your energy is best spent. When you walk away from a toxic situation, you're not just escaping negativity, you're making room for healthier, more fulfilling relationships. You are choosing peace over chaos, self-respect over validation, and growth over stagnation. Walking away sends a clear message. My self-respect is non-negotiable. It tells the world, and More importantly, it tells yourself that you refuse to settle for less than you deserve. And that is the ultimate power move. Respect isn't something we demand from others. It's something we cultivate within ourselves. The way you carry yourself, the standards you set, and the boundaries you enforce all send a clear message. This is how I expect to be treated. If this video resonated with you, take a moment to reflect on where in your life you need to reclaim your power. And if you know someone struggling with disrespect, share this with them. Sometimes a new perspective is all it takes to make a change. Let's continue to build a community of strength, wisdom, and self-respect. Drop a comment below and share which insight spoke to you the most. I'd love to hear your thoughts and experiences. Remember, true strength isn't about fighting every battle. It's about knowing when to stand firm, when to walk away, and when to let go entirely. You are in control of your reactions, your energy, and your peace. Never forget that. Stay strong, stay true to yourself, and keep walking the path of self-respect. And if you're ready for more insights on mastering your mindset and handling life's challenges with unshakable confidence, stay tuned. There's much more to come.